Good afternoon and welcome to St. Newsfile. I'm Ty Rothermall. Brody Longauger will have weather coming up, but first let's check in with Garrett Steffen. Not a good showing for the Flames last night, eh?
No, Ty, it was not. It was kind of a classic Flames game, if you will, and we'll definitely be touching on that a little bit later in sports.
Thanks, Garrett. Brody, we got some snow last night. What's your take on that?
You know, this time of year I like to call winter 2, electric boogaloo. Now, whether or not we get any more snow, I'll leave that up for the upcoming forecast. But the high today is 5 degrees. The record high was in 1889 at 20 degrees. And the record low is at minus 28.9.
Well, thanks, Brody. Now here's a look at today's top stories. A lot of Albertans are gearing up to get back into movie theaters, enjoy indoor gatherings, and start playing sports today, but that's not going to happen just yet. The Alberta government has decided to delay the start of Phase 3. Health Minister Tyler Shandro says case numbers have remained steady, but hospitalizations have seen an increase in the past week because of these increases. The government will not be proceeding to Stage 3 of the Path Forward plan. This is actually sitting well with some Albertans who think moving forward would be a mistake.
I do believe COVID restrictions getting eased would make more people take off their masks and more people get infected, and it would initiate a third wave of COVID.
Now let's take a look at the latest statistics on COVID-19 in the province. There have been 456 new identified cases throughout the province, bringing the total of active cases up to nearly 6,200. There are 280 people currently in hospital, with 48 of those in intensive care. There have been 5 additional deaths caused by COVID. The number of poisonings caused by hand sanitizer and cleaning products skyrocketed in Alberta since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The number of calls the Alberta Poison and Drug Information Service received in 2020 increased by 73%. Kathy Belton, Associate Director of the Injury Prevention Center, says when used incorrectly, products such as hand sanitizer can cause unintentional poisoning and serious injuries. Calls specifically related to hand sanitizer poisonings went up by 200%. The increases were most common in seniors and teens. Alberta is expanding its rapid COVID-19 test program and opened applications to the public, private, and not-for-profit employers and service providers across the province. While anyone is open to apply, certain groups will be prioritized, including those that work with vulnerable populations, high-risk settings, and workplaces, first responders, and critical industry and sectors that support the reopening of economic and social activities. The program is expanding after it initially launched in long-term care, schools, outbreak sites, hospitals, homeless shelters, and a few industrial sites. Spring is right around the corner. That means seasonal allergies for a lot of people, but during the pandemic, some of the allergy symptoms can easily be mistaken for COVID-19. As Amy Ramsey reports, there are ways to distinguish between the two.
Like, you can't even go outside anymore with a stuffy nose without somebody thinking that you have COVID, right? So it's almost even uncomfortable to blow your nose in public. Like, you can even say to everyone around you, I have allergies, but are they going to believe you? Probably not.
The sun we've had over the past few days is causing a big snowmelt, and that can be a big trigger for people's allergies. Allergy symptoms like runny, stuffy noses look similar to COVID-19 symptoms. It can be very difficult to tell the two apart from each other. Some people with allergies triggered in the season are finding it can be difficult to manage their symptoms, making it uncomfortable for them to go into public.
But it's also caused me to miss work a couple of times. Because if you have one primary or secondary symptom of COVID, they immediately send you home for 10 days.
There are many different types of allergies, but a couple common allergies for this time of year is to pollen and snow mold. When the snow melts, it releases a mold into the air. A local pharmacist says there are ways to distinguish between the two.
Well, of course, you can always get the COVID test, right? And of course, if you want to try some drugs are good. And they help, then, sometimes though you got to think about drugs always are going to help sometimes with cold symptoms as well. So whether they're going to help with your, I think they'd be more helpful for your allergies though.
With COVID, you'll have a dry cough, but when it comes to allergies, sneezing is a very common symptom that you won't see with COVID. One way to prevent allergies is by getting a skin test. That way you know exactly what you're allergic to. Another way to help prevent allergies is by wearing your mask. That way pollen can't enter your respiratory system. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Amy Ramsey.
Green building technologies are becoming more and more popular with home buyers, and here at SAIT, we're on the cutting edge. SAIT has partnered with a Canmore company to build a home with the strictest green requirements. Daniel Siemens joins us live from the SAIT campus. Daniel, this is pretty cool. Once the house is finished, it will be the 4th of its kind in the entire world.
Yeah, Ty, it is pretty cool. It's part of the Living Building Challenge, which is a contest to make a building produce more energy than it uses and repurposing materials rather than leaving them to waste. This challenge has the most rigorous green rating standard.
Located in the foothills of the Rockies, was a challenge to build. SAIT partnered with Woodpecker European Timber Framing out of Canmore and an Alberta family.
So building a house like this is kind of difficult, so we really needed expertise in sustainable home building, and SAIT has experience in net zero homes.
The more than 2,200 square foot home has its own name, the Confluence. It's taken 3 years to build, but it took many years in preparation even before that. For the Molinars, this has been a project that's been the family's passion for the decade.
We've gone through childbirth, to diapers, to car seats, to almost driving. In other words, 10 years.
The Confluence is currently undergoing a 12-month certification process that SAIT and its partners will monitor and report on during the coming year. It goes beyond just installing solar panels and low-flow toilets. In order to be certified in this category, a home must adhere to 7 areas of sustainability, and that includes an area where the homeowners can grow their own food.
Our entire kitchen is repurposed. All the vanities were saved from the landfill, all the countertops, toilets, and also our wood floor is repurposed. And that's actually a little interesting story. The fir floor comes actually from beams from a warehouse of downtown Vancouver from the 1940s.
This project involved 19 SAIT students who earned career building expertise.
Daniel Siemens reporting live from the northwest corner of the SAIT campus. The Molinars got in contact with SAIT in 2015 to get this project started, but it's taken until now to come to fruition. Calgary police have charged 33-year-old Ahmed Hassan Dul, alleged to be responsible for trafficking 2 underage girls. Dul is facing 10 criminal charges, including sexual assault. The police investigation spanned several months and found that the accused had recruited a 15-year-old girl to work for him between March 2020 and February 2021. In a release, police say it is believed that the man would arrange for transportation of the victims to the location of encounters that he had set up with them for other men. Police also allege that the man engaged in sexual activity with a 13-year-old girl. Dul is scheduled to appear in court on Wednesday. The voices of outraged Albertans have been made known. Disgusted, infuriating, and insulting are just some of the words Albertans used in emails of outrage sent to Premier Jason Kenney after government officials ignored public health recommendations and traveled abroad in late 2020. The emails were released through a Freedom of Information request to the government's Communications and Public Engagement Department. These messages precede Kenney accepting the resignation of several MLAs and staff members. At the best of times, many students struggled to make ends meet, but since the pandemic, almost 30% of Canadian students have lost their jobs and are struggling to keep the cupboards full. The University of Calgary has come up with a unique way to fund its campus food bank program, and as Sydney Chisholm reports, it's also encouraging students to pay for their parking tickets.
The University of Calgary has started a new initiative all week long, where when students pay a parking fine, half of the cost of the ticket goes to the campus's independent food bank.
So I thought it would at least be nice if some of that money, instead of going into the university abyss, could go towards people, especially during this difficult time.
With the COVID-19 pandemic and less part-time work available for students, the food bank has seen a much higher demand. Allison Durant, a student from the university, says that this year has been harder than any other.
It's pretty difficult to be a full-time student, and I'm doing 5 classes right now, so it doesn't leave much time to work a part-time job. So in the summer I find myself working 2 jobs usually, just to make up for the lack of job throughout the year.
By raising money for the program rather than just collecting donations, the food bank is hoping to expand its reach within the school community, as well as encourage people to pay their parking tickets, as it seems many students have been neglecting to pay their fines.
I think it's a good way to get people to pay them. I don't think a lot of people are very, most people I know that have gotten parking tickets kind of just put it off and they don't ever pay them, or if they do, it's very late. So I think this would be a good way for them to get money from that, with the incentive of that.
Students who don't pay their parking fines will not be able to graduate with the rest of their class, which sparked the idea for this initiative. For State News File, I'm Sydney Chisholm.
Warmer weather is upon us, and many green thumbs are eager to get outside and get to work on their gardens. But despite the eagerness, it's still mid-March, and as Calgarians know, we still may be in for a dump of snow. Garrett Steffen has the details on when you should get out to work on your garden.
As we embark on the season of spring, some people are starting to get excited about warmer weather and days spent working in their garden. Last year saw a rise in gardening supply sales due to COVID-19, and early into the season, it's looking like it will continue.
Very much so. There was a lot of new people that we have never seen before, a lot of new people, which is good for this industry, so it's great.
For one first-timer, gardening had been something they had wanted to try for a long time, and being home during COVID meant there was no better time to give it a shot.
So it was just more of a container gardening kind of an idea, so it was something that was easy, and I didn't have to invest a lot of time to get it going.
If you're thinking of trying your hand at growing flowers or produce to make a salad, you may want to hold off a few more weeks.
Yeah, you shouldn't plant till at least after the May long weekend, because we can still get frost well into May, so it's a long way. I mean, last night was well below 0, so anything outside would have been toast.
As the saying goes, patience is a virtue. If you wait it out for a few more weeks, your efforts will reward you.
Oh my gosh, watching every day when I would get up in the morning and how quickly, all of a sudden there's a bloom or there's, a shoot or a flower or that kind of thing. And just to see how quickly everything came to be and knowing you grew food yourself, that was a lot of fun for me because I'd have no experience with that before.
It may be too soon to start planting your garden yet, but with April on the horizon, we'll soon find out if April showers bring May flowers. For State News File, I'm Garrett Steffen.
Those are today's top stories. We'll have your full forecast coming up after the break, but first Brody has a look at what's going on around Calgary this week.
An open mic event is being held in Calgary Southwest at Koi. It's happening from March 13th to April 12th. Unplugged, Calgary's Earth Hour is an event happening on March 27th from 7:30 till 8:30 p.m. Come From Away will be performing at State's Jubilee Auditorium, also on March 27th. The event starts at 2 p.m. and goes until 10 p.m. If you're looking for a little more music, Acoustic Tuesday is happening tonight at 8 p.m. The event is being held at Hotel Arts in Calgary. And if you're looking to get your young ones started in some sports, Spring Tennis Camp will be held from March 28th until April 1st. It's for ages 4 to 7, and it'll be held at the SCA Community Association. Bliss Bridal will also be starting up on March 28th. It's a one-day event happening at Best Western Premier Calgary.
Tired of the same old routine at the gym? Why not jump into something new? Because fitness should always be this fun. Check out Skip Time for more information.
Come and learn the breaking world of broadcast news. Find your passion to investigate, write, shoot, edit, and deliver the stories of the day. SAIT's broadcast news program teaches you everything you need to know for a career in radio and television. Become the next great anchor, reporter, or personality using industry standard technology alongside qualified instructors with years of experience. This is Broadcast News. Come and dare to be on air.
Welcome back to SAIT Newsfile. Winter is back with a vengeance, but it should be gone as quickly as it arrived. Now, let's take a look at the western provinces. We're going to have a high pressure system coming in from the north here, and it's going to stick along the west coast here. Now, looking at the west coast, Vancouver is sitting at 6 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Edmonton is a bit cloudy, a little bit more miserable out there with -5. Regina, they're getting a bit of snow with -2. And Winnipeg is sitting with that cloud cover at 3 degrees. Now let's take a look at the eastern provinces. You have a high pressure system moving along the north end of Quebec here towards the coast. Toronto is sitting at 13 degrees with some cloud cover. Quebec, same temperature, but they're getting a bit of sunshine, which is pretty nice. Halifax is sitting at 9 degrees with some sun, and St. John's is 12 with some more sun. Now, let's take a look at the resorts. Palm Springs, they're seeing some cloud cover with 17 degrees. Barbados looking balmy, 29 degrees and partly cloudy. Cancun is sitting at 27 degrees, Honolulu at 21. Orlando's a little warmer with 23, and Vegas is the only one without a cloud in the sky with a cool 13 degrees. In Calgary today, it is 5 degrees and it's mostly sunny with the wind coming from the south at 20 kilometers an hour. We're going to see some cloud cover coming in for the rest of the week though, but let's take a look at the rest of the province. Fort Mac is sitting at -19 degrees. They got a little bit of sun, but it's still pretty chilly out there. Grand Prairie is sitting at -6 with a mix of sun and cloud. Edmonton, like I said before, a lot of cloud cover, -5, a little miserable out there. Red Deer, -8 with a bit of cloud cover, and for some reason, Calgary and Banff are just sitting nice there with a little bit of sun. Let's take a look at the 5-day forecast. Tonight, we're going to hit a low of -2, and the cloud cover rolls in, as tomorrow we hit a high of 7. Thursday, we hit a high of 2 degrees. That cloud cover goes away as of Friday, though, as it hits a high of 8. And then we are lucky enough to get a bit of double digits there once we hit the weekend. Now, let's take a bit of a look at what the slopes are like. Looking at Fernie, they got some fresh powder last night, gaining 13 centimeters over the last 24 hours and sitting at a base of 77 centimeters. It's a little chilly at -18 degrees, but they've got sun for days. Panorama is starting to see some spring conditions with no new snow. They have a base of 56 centimeters and a lot of sun as well. Sunshine is machine groomed today. They got 2 centimeters over the last 24 hours and have a base of 205 centimeters. They got a mix of sun and cloud throughout the day. Norquay is also machine groomed. They got 2 centimeters last night as well. No record on their base, but they've got the sun smiling on them as well. And last but not least, Lake Louise has packed powder, but with no new snow, sitting at a base of 149 centimeters and seeing that same sun.
Welcome back to SAIT Newsfile. Garrett Steffen joins us now with a look at the latest highlights. So just how bad were those flip-floppity Flames last night, Garrett?
Well, they were quite flip-floppity, Ty, and in typical Flames fashion, the Flames came in gunning last night, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. In the first period, it's Ryan Dzingel coming down the wall on a 2-on-1. He elects to shoot it and scores. That'll put the lead on the Sens 1-0. Third period now, on a Flames breakout, Lucic up to Johnny Hockey, who'll come in and go Bardowski. What a shot. Senators in the Flames' end, applying some pressure. The puck gets shot from the point, ends up in some traffic out front, and it's Chris Tierney with the game-winning goal. The youngster, Philip Gustafsson, would pick up his first NHL victory in his first career start. The Flames had some trouble finding the back of the net, which seems to be a reoccurring problem for them.
I think we directed 70-some pucks at their net tonight, so eventually they'll go in. I think that obviously I would say that, you know, our top two lines in terms of scoring are going to have to produce probably higher level scoring chances.
The Flames battle the Senators again tomorrow afternoon. Puck drop is 3 o'clock. The Winnipeg Jets were in Vancouver to take on the Canucks for their 6th time this season. In the third period, Jets up 1-0, and it's Adam Lowry who gets a strange deflection off of a stick to extend the lead. Winnipeg continues to cycle the puck. Puck goes to Josh Morrissey. He'll let a wrister go from the point that gets deflected on the way and ends up in the net on a shot from Lowry. Under 4 minutes to play, Vancouver turns the puck over as Demko is making his way to the bench, and it's Paul Stastny who comes in and makes them pay. Connor Hellebuyck gets his first shutout of the season, stopping all 22 shots he faced. The NHL's Board of Governors has approved changes to the draft lottery, which will go into effect in the 2022 draft. Changes include limiting the amount of times a team can pick numbers from number 1 overall to 2 times in a 5-year span, and previous lottery results will not count towards the team totals. The 2021 NHL draft is scheduled for the weekend of July 23rd and 24th. Hockey is a rite of passage to many Canadians who enjoy the sport, but the arrival of COVID-19 created difficulties for amateur players to participate in the sport they love. As Calvin Hector reports, tying on the skates has pretty much been on hold this year.
Zimmerman, nice move off the right circle, and he scores!
Professional and junior hockey leagues were given special permission from the government allowing league play, but amateur sports in the province have been left on the shelf. This has caused many to fill the void in other ways, but it still weighs heavy as playing hockey is more than just a sport to some people.
Yeah, I miss going out and playing. You know, I don't exercise very much. I'm stuck in my dorm room a lot of the time, so not being able to go out and play hockey, and especially going out and hanging out with your buddies, you know, not being able to go out there and have a couple of games or whatever, it's kind of a bummer not being able to go out there and play.
It's been since mid-November when amateur hockey was last allowed in the province. As of right now, only minor and collegiate hockey teams are allowed to practice, but they must be in groups of less than 10. Yesterday, the province announced it was not going into step 3 of its reopening plan, which would have eased restrictions for team sports.
Right now, knowing that we had 7 days of increases in our hospitalizations, we do see a setback with increasing numbers in our daily cases, that the prudent and safe thing to do is for us to be able to hold off on proceeding with step 3.
The announcement means time is running out for some to play hockey this year.
Just kind of focusing on school and not really getting that playing time, which is something that you want to cherish for the rest of your life, because you're only going to get it a couple times before you get too old and you're not able to play.
The province is continuing to monitor hospital numbers before making an announcement on easing restrictions for team sports. For St. Newsfile, I'm Calvin Hector.
Canadian mixed doubles is underway over at Winsport, and the Bonspiel has been electric. Karwacki and Smolgalski taking on Sweeting and Kennedy. Karwacki with the solid throw here late in the first that winds up on the button. To the fourth, Karwacki and Smolgalski trailing by 1, and Sweeting throws an unbelievable rock that will put them up 4-2. And Sweeting will be very happy with this throw. Yep, there's the smile right there. Fifth end now, and Karwacki's shot is a little long, just missing the button, and giving up 2 points to Sweeting and Kennedy, who would take this one 7-3. The Green Bay Packers are re-signing cornerback Kevin King to a 1-year, $6 million deal. The 25-year-old spent the past 4 seasons with the Packers after the club selected him in the second round in 2017. He played 11 games last year with 57 tackles and 5 pass defense. But when it comes to the team's quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, contract has not been discussed. Heading into last night's matchup between the Toronto Raptors and Houston Rockets, both teams are dealing with losing streaks. Houston looking to snap 20 straight losses, and the Toronto Raptors look to end 8. Final seconds of the first half, and Daniel House Jr. drains a 50-footer at the buzzer. Going into the half, it would be the Houston Rockets up 65-60. Fourth quarter now, and look at this sequence by the Raptors. Powell dribbles it off his foot and dives to retain possession of the ball, which ends up in Kyle Lowry's hands before he turns it over and trips on Pascal Siakam. Houston comes back the other way for the alley-oop to put this game away. Houston holds the Raptors from triple digits, and it's John Wall with a stellar performance to help end the 20-game losing skid. Meanwhile, the Raptors fall to 9 games without a win, and Kyle Lowry knows they need to be better.
And this is what we have, and we have to go out there, and we had a bad start. We got a good run going, and then now we're kind of a bad route. a bad run. So we got to find a way to get back to a positive momentum.
Lowry was held to just 17 points in the loss and seems to be in a bit of a slump as of late. That's sports. Ty?
Thanks, Garrett. I hope to see things turn around for the Raptors sooner than later. Coming up after the break, we'll have a profile of a Calgary man whose art is keeping him busy these days.
The art of singing has been a part of our lives since the very beginning. The Calgary Girls Choir is dedicated to developing that art as well as valuable life skills through singing and teamwork. Here, the girls are trained in vocal excellence and artistry, and the choir strives to be a beacon of female empowerment. Their 3 programs showcase 3 distinct levels of skills as they age. With your donations, the girls have more opportunities to showcase their skills all around the world, giving young women a voice.
Come and learn the breaking world of broadcast news. Find your passion to investigate, write, shoot, edit, and deliver the stories of the day. SAIT's broadcast news program teaches you everything you need to know for a career in radio and television. Become the next great anchor, reporter, or personality using industry standard technology alongside qualified instructors with years of experience. This is broadcast news. Come and dare to be on air.
There's been a lot of extra time for many people during this pandemic, and many people have turned to new hobbies. People have been taking up everything from gardening to art projects. As Amy Prentice reports, one Calgarian has decided to take advantage of the free time and create something special.
Learning new skills every day, so I'm able to kind of channel my creativity in different ways.
David Waddell was working at the University of Calgary in the Research Centre, and he was unable to continue going to work when everything switched to an online format. He decided to turn his hobby for painting into a business.
The pandemic basically where I didn't have a lot of work, and I needed something to kind of fill my time, and I was able to kind of rediscover my artistic talents and just dive right into it.
Waddell has a large following on his Instagram account, which he uses to showcase his artwork and promote his website.
That's kind of the way that I connect with my community. It's a great way to share your work and market yourself as an individual and as a company.
David is making the best out of a bad situation, and his friends couldn't be more proud.
I think it's a good story about how someone took getting laid off from, or not laid off, not having enough work, and then doing something through COVID and actually making it a viable business.
If you also have a flair for creativity, now is the perfect time to let it out. For SAIT News File, I'm Amy Prentice.
That's all for this edition of SAIT News File. We'll be back on Thursday. Until then, see ya.